Ladies and gentlemen, g'day. Welcome back to the channel. It's me, it's Economics Mate. This is WOT Blitz. And I thought I would bring back a series which the one and only Meadsy69 used to do on his channel. In fact, it wasn't just Meadsy that used to do it, it was also the good old Skate Extreme. For those veteran players out there who know who Skate Extreme is, you are the real MVPs. The Do's and Don'ts series was a fantastic way of explaining why you need to do certain things in a battle and why you shouldn't do certain things in a battle. Henceforth, this video is going to be talking about the do's and don'ts of heavy tanks. And thankfully, we have an amazing replay by my good brother and my friend, Adam, aka... well, we're going to find out what that name is now. I've played these games before. Playing in his AMX M4 Emily 54. And of course, it's on Yamato Harbor. For those of you who don't know who Adam is, he is one of the best players on the EU server and probably one of the best players in Blitz, period. He's a great guy and he has given me this replay to showcase just how to play a heavy tank correctly, especially a heavy tank with this sort of armor profile. I'm going to pause the video right here. So, first and foremost, when you're playing a heavy tank, it all depends on what kind of heavy tank you are playing. If you are playing something like, for instance, this AMX M4 MLE 54, I should probably say, most of its armor is basic, or I should probably reiterate, not most of its armor. All of its armor is at the front. It's on the front of the turret, it's on the front of the whole armor. Henceforth, this tank is very well comfortable sitting, on a hill or in a hold down position. This is not a tank that you can necessarily side scrape in. I mean, technically you can side scrape, but the sides of this tank is not very strong at all. And there are tanks like this, for instance, the Kranwagen. The Kranwagen, like the one behind him right now, is a prime example. It has amazing turret armor, it's got pretty decent frontal armor, but again, it's in a pike nose situation, and the best place to park that tank is on a ridgeline using your full gun depression, because that is where the armor is particularly effective. So, the first do, I would say, for a heavy tank would be, have a look what kind of heavy tank it is. Know the stats of your tank, know where the armor is on a tank, and understand, does this tank perform well out in the open, does it perform well in a hold down position, and does it perform well in a side scraping position? I should probably say, does it perform well side scraping? If it's got a pike nose, make sure you play it head on, covering your lower plate, because that's where your armor is. Your armor is most effective when you're facing the enemies directly in a, not necessarily a hold down position, but in a position where your lower plate is covered, so your frontal armor and your turret armor is facing that enemy tank, and then it's most effective. If you have armor like this M4 MLE, your armor is focused at the front, so you'd want to go in a hold down position because you don't want the people to be penning the sides of your tank. If you're in, let's say, a Type 71, prime example, that has great frontal armor, it's got great turret armor, and it's got pretty decent side armor, which means you can actually side scrape in the Type 71. It's quite effective. And then you got tanks like, for instance, the Mouse and the E100. Those tanks are considered super heavy tanks, so therefore you need to play them in a conservative manner, right? So that is my first do for a heavy tank. Let's continue with the battle. So, notice the positioning that he is doing. He has decided to move towards the middle of the map on Yamato Harbor and use those hilly areas, or rather those mounds, as, well, areas where you can basically use your gun depression. He does get spotted by the Batchatillon, but unfortunately, that is going to be not much. Well, actually, fortunately for him, it's actually going to be pretty good. He gets a nice shot into the IS-7. It does bounce, but obviously he's using his time here. Now, I think he's got his auto-aim enabled, which is very interesting. I usually don't like having auto-aim enabled when I'm zoomed in because, well, it's, let's face it, pretty annoying. Gets a nice shot into the lower plate. Notice how he's wiggling and jiggling. That's another good furry thing. Okay. right there. Did you see what he did? He was wiggling and jiggling, okay? This is a big do. In my opinion, doing this is very, very effective. Notice how, because he's out in the open, he doesn't have many opportunities to hide his lower plate, and therefore if he just stands there and just sits still and doesn't do anything, he's going to get penned. The enemy IS-7 would have easily managed to pen him in the bottom of his plate. So the only way to basically not guarantee a bounce, but at least increase your chances of getting a bounce, is to wiggle and jiggle, what he was doing there. Which means basically what you need to do is, as you can see, he was wiggling his turret, he was wiggling his frontal armor, and you can see where the IS-7 hit him. He hit him on his turret. So yeah, because he hit him on his turret, he was able to bounce a shot. So that's a big do. Now, in terms of don'ts, I would say do not just stand still. If you stand still, you have no areas to side scrape, no areas to go hold down, no areas to hide your lower plates, and you just stand still out in the open, they're going to pen you regardless. Whether they can pen your frontal armor or not, your lower plate is always going to be a weak spot. So you need to be very, very careful about that. So always wiggle and jiggle and angle as much as you can when you're out in the open and you have no other choice, like we saw Adam here. And as for don'ts, do not just stand still and do nothing. Here we go. He's now moving forward. The IS-7 is there. He's going to... Oh, okay. That was a very, very clutch shot. Very, very smart to try and snapshot. But again, it's pretty difficult to do so. I'm going to put the volume a little bit down so you can hear me better. The Batchation does kill the Grid A15, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. Now, notice... I'm going to stop right there. Notice what this IS-7 was doing. Do you see how he was turning his turret to try and get a shot into the Jagdpanzer E100? And because he did that, his armor, or the turret armor, became weak. Notice how the front of that IS-7 became basically a tomato for Adam, and he couldn't pen him. Well, as you're going to see in a bit, as soon as that IS-7 traverses his tank anymore, that pike nose becomes a weak spot. And the reason for that is because the armor is angled forwards. It's angled forwards in a pike nose position. And that means the armor is focused in that position. And the only way to effectively use that tank or rather use your armor, is to face someone head on while hiding the lower plate. So don't do what this IS-7 is going to do next. You see that right there? He's turning his whole tank. Now, showing your rear backside to an AMX, very, very bad. He's trying to get shots and damage into the Jagdpanzer E100 instead of shooting the AMX that's in front of him. So what does Adam do? He clears him. Perfect example, perfect opportunity. Adam saw an opportunity there to use his armor and use his mobility to get into the battle and clear the IS-7, whilst the IS-7 was too busy trying to get damage into that Jagdpanzer E100 and not even focusing on the AMX that's right in front of him. So that's a big don't. If you're in a tank and it's a 1 versus 2, get into a position where both the tanks are going to struggle to pen you. What he should have done was get behind the Jagdpanzer E100 and use his armor and his positioning to basically bounce shots off the AMX without trying to get shot by that Jagdpanzer E100. Now, good positioning here from Adam. He's basically using the ridgeline to get shots onto the Batchation, but he needs to be careful because there are 2 tank destroyers at the end there. I guarantee you the Jagdpanzer E100 is right at the end. Now, this is a very clutch game. It's a 6 versus 3 situation. Very, very good right there. I'm going to pause it right there again. Adam clears a low hit point tank. This is a big do for a heavy tank driver. If you drive heavy tanks and you see an opportunity and you have enough alpha, which I'm pretty sure most heavy tanks do at T10, clear low hit point targets. Do not leave them, because it is better to clear a tank than to do more damage. Trust me when I say, that tank that you did not decide to kill because there wasn't enough damage on the table for you is going to cause you grief later on in the battle. Why? Because when there's 6 guns instead of 5, it poses an issue, especially if that tank that you didn't kill is a mobile medium tank like that Progetto 65 was. Now, Notice how he got spotted and he moved back into cover. Very smart move there. Now, the T95E6 Piranha has decided to move out. Now, very smart move. Again, I'm going to pause it there. What did Adam use? He used what? Reactive armor. Consumables are essential for a heavy tank driver. If you want to be effective in a heavy tank, make sure to use premium consumables like the reactive armor. Reactive armor is amazing for a tank that has good armor already, but when you equip it, it means they're going to do less damage when they pen you, which is great, especially in a brawling situation. Keep in mind though, this E6, okay, is one of the best heavy tanks at tier 10 in the game at the moment. It's basically a medium tank. It's crazy. DPM wise, mobility wise, armor wise, just everything about it is insane. This guy, on the other hand, is not playing that tank properly, and you're going to see why. Let's play the battle. Here we go. So Adam is moving up. He gets shot by, I'm assuming, was the, what do you call it, the T110E4. He does get a bounce, again, from the T95E6. He's going to put a round into him. Now notice how the E6 just shot him with HE. Very bad move there. Very bad move indeed. Not sure what was going on there. Someone tried to hit him with HE. I believe it was the Jagdpanzer E100. Very, very good move. I'm going to pause this video right here. Now, notice the positioning that Adam was in over here. Some people might say, oh, he's at the back, blah, 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 blah. But no, he wasn't sitting at the back doing nothing. He was there to try and clear that T95E6. Quite the opposite, in fact, right? Now, he's obviously trying to keep as much cover as he can between himself and the Jagdpanzer E100, which is clearly at the back. He's clearly in the bushes where base 1 is for the enemy team, and he's basically trying to hit Adam with high explosive because he probably can't pen him with his AP rounds, or he's trying to pen his sides with HE. Who knows? My point is, Adam did a good job here using the armor on his tank and positioning himself in a way where his armor is very, very effectively strong, basically. So that's a big do situation. That is a big do. Do what Adam just did. If you're in a very tight situation where you know there's a tank in front of you and there's also a tank destroyer, rather, in the bushes towards the end of a map, make sure you position your tank. So therefore, it's very hard for that tank destroyer to take shots of you. Like the building here. Use the buildings. There's buildings around you. Use them. It's very important to use the buildings and the surroundings, the hard cover, to your advantage. Because trust me when I say, when you're in a clutch situation like this, when it's a 2 versus 4 situation, you're going to need all the hit points that you have. So make sure you preserve your hit points by using hard cover. And a big don't in this situation is do not panic. Do not panic. I've seen so many games like this where one player does amazing amounts of damage, but then towards the end they just panic because they don't know what to do. And this is a repeat situation here. It's a situation like this. It's a 4 versus 2. I don't know what to do. I'm going to panic. And then the game just loses. You lose the game basically because you just panicked and you didn't focus on what you're supposed to do. So let's continue with the video and let's see what Adam does next. Now keep in mind, Adam is on 2 kills and he's on 3,556 damage. Not a small feat by any stretch of the imagination, but trust me when I say it's going to get even better than this. Type 71 is over there trying to deal with the Jagdpanzer 100. Now, he's got his rear armor showing. He's going to shoot the Type 71, but obviously he wants to try and clear the T110E4 because the E4 has enough pen and has enough alpha to really do much damage. Now, very smart move by Adam. Did you see what he was doing there? He went behind hard cover straight away behind that mound and used the mound to protect his lower plate and to basically show the T110E4 his turret and maybe the top of his sort of frontal armor. So very smart move there, very quick thinking, and obviously calculating the reload on that T110E4. Very important to know the reloads on different tanks, especially tank destroyers, because trust me, when it comes into a clutch game, you want to know what the reload is on those tanks. You need to know, otherwise you're stuffed, okay? Now, notice as well how he went for the T110E4 because, well, the tank was right in front of him, and he was on low hit points. So kudos to that Jagdpanzer 100 for actually shooting the T124 and basically making him a one-shot for the AMX. So good on you, E4. Good on you, Jagdpanzer. Now, I presume the Jagdpanzer is going to die. But let's have a look. Let's have a look, shall we? Here we go. Type 71, making his way ever so slowly. Now, do keep in mind... Okay, hold on. I'm going to pause the video right there. You see what this Type 71 is doing? This is a prime example of what you shouldn't do in a heavy tank like the Type 71 or like any heavy tanks. Do not reverse out to a tank that's clearly facing you head on, that is covered. Oh, by the way, I'm gonna show you what Adam is trying to do here in a bit. Okay, reversing, showing your sides to a devastating heavy tank. What that Type 71 should have done was, as soon as he saw the T124 get destroyed, he should have pushed all the way up. He should have made his way up, past past those buildings there, and away from the AMX, away from Adam. That's what he should have done, but he didn't. And he's going to pay dearly for that. So do not do what this Type 71 is doing. Make sure if you're in a situation like this, you get the hell out of there. You get the hell out of there, or at the very least, reposition your tank so you're facing forwards and you're not facing side on to something that does like 460 alpha per shot. So just be very, very wary of that. Now notice how he gets hit from the tank behind him. He's moving his tank and his positioning. Now notice how he got a shot from the Type 71. He's going to try and hit... see, the Type 71, I don't know what you're doing, bro. Okay. Let's pause it right there. This is a prime example of using your surroundings to your advantage. That Type 71 is a bit of an uptie, let's face it. I mean, there's no other ways around it. The guy was just sitting there with his rear facing Adam. Like, stupid positioning. Really poor positioning. Do not do what he was doing. However, a big do indeed. Oh, by the way, I should also mention that that T95 E6, another prime example of what you shouldn't do in a heavy tank like that. Sitting at the back, trying to shoot a AMX from that positioning and that distance is a poor decision. That E6 has enough mobility and enough DPM to get behind the AMX and really pose an issue. So what the Type 71 and the E6 should have done was work together, communicate with each other, and have the Type 71 who had more hit points face the AMX, go hold down, try to bounce shots, distract him, while the E6 gets behind the AMX and uses their, well, let's face it, gun depression, the armor, the DPM, and the mobility to basically destroy Adam. That's what should have happened, but instead, it didn't. And as you can see, the advantage is now in Adam's playing field. It's a 1 versus 3 situation. We could potentially see a Kolobanovsky. Who knows? I haven't seen the results yet. But what I can tell you, Adam knows exactly what he is doing, and you need to copy what Adam does. So a big don't do what this Type 71 and this T95 E6 are doing. And a big do is use your surroundings. Use it. Oh, and by the way, I want to mention that Jagdpanzer 100 is on full health. But look where he is. He's closing in. This is going to be a very, very tight battle indeed. So let's continue and see what happens. He's using hardcover. A big, massive thumbs up for that. That's exactly what you need to do. And he's constantly panning his camera around to see where the tanks are coming from. There's the Jagdpanzer 100, gets a shot into him, goes back straight into cover. That's exactly what you need to do. Do not stay in the open. Now, he's waiting for the Jagdpanzer 100 to make his way around or make some kind of mistake. E6, I mean, I don't know what he's doing. He's shooting HE for God's sake. He can afford to take a shot from the Type 71. He needs to be very careful here. Okay, beautiful shot. Oh, okay. Pause it right there. What Adam just did right there is a prime example of knowing the weak spots on tanks. If you're playing a heavy and you're in a situation like this, and there's a Jagdpanzer 100 in front of you, and you can't pen him using your AP or APCR or your heat rounds, look up top. The Jagdpanzer 100 has 2 or 3 weak points on the top of the tank. on the top of that superstructure. Those little hatches, they can be penned. All you need to do, aim your shots, be patient, fire, and you'll pen. Good on you, Adam, for actually noticing that. Now notice how he ducks straight back into cover. As soon as he shoots that shot, that Jagdpanzer 100 is going to make a very big mistake. And the biggest mistake that he did was try to maneuver around Adam. No. Big no-no. Basically, this Type 71 is an updie. He performed pretty badly. Let's face it, he should have worked together with the Jagdpanzer 100, but he chose not to. And we're going to see exactly what I mean by that. So here we are. Adam is using the mound. He's keeping his eyes on that Type 71. Interesting. Notice how he didn't... Okay, so let's pause it there again. I know I'm pausing a lot, aren't I? Did you see that shot from the Jagdpanzer 100? He shot his shot. What does that mean? He also missed. What does that mean? Well, if you're a heavy tank and you have enough mobility and a big, chunky tank destroyer like a Jagdpanzer 100 shoots its massive 170mm gun, you have about 15 seconds to get the hell out of there before he fires again. So that's exactly what Adam is doing. So this is a big do. If you're in a heavy tank and a big, chunky tank destroyer like a Jagdpanzer 100 or a FE215B183 shoots its shot, you have about 15 seconds for a Jagdpanzer 100 and about 18 seconds for a 183 to reload its shot. So I would suggest getting out of there. And that's exactly what Adam is doing. He's going straight for the Type 71. Boom. Clears him. Goes straight into hard cover once more. Very smart move. Again, big don'ts. Do not do what that Type 71 was doing. Horrible. Now, beautiful, beautiful work there. I'm going to pause it again. What did Adam do? He tried to track him. So another big thing that you need to focus on when you're in a clutch game like this and a tank destroyer that doesn't have a turret, track them. Track your targets. Damage the tracks. So when you shoot it again, the tracks are going to come off. And then they're tracked. Because they have no turret, they can't move. And they can't shoot you. So you get behind them. And that's exactly what Adam is going to be doing. So another big point is make sure you track your targets and make sure you take advantage of heavier tanks that are very slow. Get behind them. Use their crap mobility to your advantage. Here we go. Let's see what's going to happen next. He's going to do something people forget about all the time. He's going to reset his camo. And he's going to duck straight back into cover. But notice how he's waiting for the Jagdpanzer 100 to do something. Well, what did the Jagdpanzer 100 do? He's capping the base. He's not going to come try and get him. Now, do keep in mind, the Jagdpanzer 100 could probably just kill him with one shot. But he chooses not to. Adam is going to have a bit of a strife here, trying to know where he is. He doesn't want to duck out, because for all Adam knows, he could be facing directly at him. But who knows? Let's have a look. Okay. So Adam misses that shot. He gets spotted. Now the Jagdpanzer 100 knows that Adam is there. But I think I have a feeling I know what Adam is going to do. Interesting. So he goes straight forward. Okay. Ooh! That was a very unfortunate hit from the Jagdpanzer 100. Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful playmaking there by Adam. Did you see what he did there? Did you catch a glimpse of what Adam did? I can't replay the replay, but I can tell you exactly what he did. He waited for his reactive armor to cool down before he headed out. And by doing so, he guaranteed that the shot from the Jagdpanzer 100 would not do enough damage to kill him. That, my friends, is skilled tanking at its finest. Knowing or keeping a track of your cooldown speeds on your premium consumables really helps in clutch situations like this. Had Adam just gone out without waiting for his cooldown to finish on his reactive armor, he most likely would have been killed by the Jagdpanzer E100, because the Jagdpanzer had no issues. I was trying to find the word there. No issues trying to pen him. He penned him, plain and simple. But because he used reactive armor just in time, that penetrating shot did not clear him. And because of that, Adam was able to put in 2 shots, because he also used adrenaline before the Jagdpanzer E100 had a chance to shoot him again. And that, my friends, is a massive, massive tip that you need to follow when you're in clutch situations like this, or just playing the game in general. Adam, thank you for sending in that replay. What an absolutely amazing showcase of how to use a heavy tank properly, of the do's and don'ts of heavy tanks. Not only did we see all of the do's to do when you're playing in a heavy tank yourself, but we saw all the don'ts of what not to do in heavy tanks by all the other heavy tanks on the enemy team. It's pretty crazy. But let's have a look at the medals. Ace Mastery. He got the Kolobanov's medal because he killed the last 3 tanks on the enemy team by himself. High Caliber. He got the Pools medal for killing 6 enemy tanks. He got the Top Gun. And of course he got the Steel Wall. He blocked 2,255 damage. He killed 6. He damaged 6. And he did 7,500 damage. Look at the team. Look at the team. What they did. The Grille 15. A T10 tank destroyer with one of the best guns in the game. I should probably say one of the best, most accurate guns in the game. 0 damage. TVP. 940. The Leopard 1. 1,000. These are not tanks. And the Ho-Ri. 1,081 damage. These are not tanks that are crap. These are very good tanks. And these players on his team did absolutely poorly. That Jagdpanzer E100 on the enemy team did 4,733 damage. Kudos to him. Kudos to him for actually trying to carry his team. The Batchat, 3,400 damage. That's a pretty decent result. But unfortunately, there's only so much a Batchat can do when the rest of your team just sucks. The IS-7, 445 damage. It was quite clear he didn't know what he was doing. The Progetto 65, again, a medium tank that probably didn't know what he was doing. The T95E6, we saw the way he was playing. We saw the positioning that he had. It was piss poor. This is not how you play that tank. And clearly by the damage, he only did 853 damage. He kept hitting Adam with HE instead of switching to his Prema rounds. So, yeah, the Type 71 did he did alright. 2,000 damage, but I think pretty much the damage was right in front of him, so it kind of made sense. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That is the do's and don'ts of heavy tanks. That's my opinions. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this has helped you, or not. If it didn't, let me know. If you want to comment on why the hell a sub 50%er is making WOT content, go ahead. You can tell me off if you want. If you don't like what you see, why are you watching then? That's just my take. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, hope you enjoyed the video. Look after yourselves. Look after your friends and family. Peace in the Middle East. And as always, I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.